What up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of BOP. This is your boy AD with Leo in the building. What up?
What's up? What's up, man?
So we here giving a preview for the week 2 matchup, the Houston Texans versus the Denver Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
Get down a little bit and we're gonna talk about, the goings on of everything that's happening. Let's start off with the news of the day. Justin Britt is out and he's possibly considering retirement. So that's a news bomb. We're kind of waiting on to see if he's at the moment where he's contemplating. He took a lot of personal days all week. So he's out for the game. We got Scott Quisenberry coming in as the starting center. Kenyon Green is projected to be the starter at guard, just to kind of clean up the offensive line. Um, Other than that, the Texans are pretty much healthy. Brevin Jordan has a little ankle injury, but he is expected to play. And then on the Denver side, Denver is going to be missing KJ Hamler, and they're going to be missing Justin Simmons, and be missing their starting guard. I want to pronounce his name correctly. His name is his
Quinn
name,
Myers. How you say this shit?
yeah, Quinn Mirnes.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Miners.
I think it's Miners. I think
Yeah,
it's.
Quinn Miners. He was their starting right guard. He's out. So they're going to be missing quite a few players. And then Jewel, the middle linebacker, and Randy Gregory are both dealing with injuries, and they're questionable, so they may play, may not play. But it's once again the Texans have another week with another star out. Justin Simmons is out. This is prime opportunity to come in and take advantage of the injuries and try to solidify themselves as being competitive as they were in week 1 with the Colts, where they surprised the hell of a lot of people, even ourselves, and having that 17-point lead and kind of coughing it up at the end, but ended up with a tie. So here we are, and week 2.
Right.
So what do you think, Leo, as far as like is going to be the most important factors for the Texans to kind of be at the very least be competitive in this game?
I mean, for me, obviously, we're a defensive team. I think, we have a defensive head coach. Defensive identity, all that BS. But it just comes down to I feel like even last year, I feel like I don't know what Lovey puts in these guys' breakfast game day. But I mean, I look at the roster in some kind of way, man. I mean, they end up playing above expectations. I mean, pretty regularly, in my opinion. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they do it. I know that we're kind of soft at the middle. I think
Mm-hmm.
don't even have to go calling people out. The tackles. They
Yeah.
aren't the most physical bunch. I mean, I know we talked a lot about the linebackers. What I'm saying. But one thing Bab was telling me earlier. Shout out to Bab. Was
Mm-hmm.
Derek Stingley had like a third rank. He was like a third ranked run defender in terms of PFF and like all of football, which is crazy to think. But I just think that at the end of the day, when you have a lesser talented defense that is like kind of carrying, you have to keep them off the field. And I think
Mm-hmm.
so, like however they go about it, I think the offense has to sustain drives. I kind of feel like going back, man, like that lead that we had was like really fool's gold because like if you look at all the stats and stuff, like what I'm saying, we were pretty much losing every category except
Mm-hmm.
turnovers and stuff. And so like I think, it comes down to just playing. We can't this team isn't talented enough to overcome consistently overcome like losing a turnover battle. So that's one thing. Uh, I think it just comes back down to sustaining drives. You know what I'm saying? Sustaining drives, even if they end with field goals, even if you end up punting the ball and just trying to win field position, you cannot keep your offense out there. Last week we lost time of possession by nearly 10 minutes. We
Mm-hmm.
gave up I think 10 more first downs. You know what else? I think they had like 20, 25 more plays
They
against.
outgained, yeah, they had almost 100 plays and they outgained us
Mhm.
total yards by at least 200 plus yards outgained
Right,
us.
right, and I mean, like now, one thing that obviously I think we talk about the run game. Obviously, like that's one way. Is this team? I mean, with Kenyon Green starting, if I mean he's apparently supposed to start, right, bro?
Yeah, he's supposed to come in and start.
Okay, so Kenyon Green and Quisenberry, is that enough to run the ball this week? We
Hmm.
will see. But I think Pep and Mills have to find a way to work the quick game. You know what I'm saying? There has to be a way to really, really work the quick game. I don't care how you convert. I don't care how you if it's running the ball, if it's with the quick game. I think you just have to find ways to just find yourself in third and short. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And that's what I think the key to the it's the same, but I mean maybe I don't know if is this offensive line physical enough with Kenyon Green and Quesenberry coming in? Is it physical enough to run the ball? Is what I'm
mhm,
wondering because last week it wasn't. So
yeah. Um, for me, I do think that running the ball is key. It's extremely key against this defense, who is has a one of the top secondaries in the league. But when it comes to the defensive line, linebackers, they don't necessarily kind of scare you in that sense of the defense. And then you got your players like Bradley Chubb, Randy Gregory, that are your key, edge rushers. But overall, they're not a great run stopping defense. And, you have to take advantage of that while you can. And I do think the addition, with Kenyon Green starting and with Quisenberry starting, it's hard to say, it's hard to find somebody that's going to be as bad as Justin Britt was on Sunday.
right.
So if he can just be competent, you know, to be, average, if we can get average out of Scott Quisenberry, we're going to be okay running the ball because just watching the film, the holes were there. It's just about getting the right, first of all, getting the right running back, and then having somebody, hit the hole correctly, man, and block it correctly. So it was a lot of missed opportunities. And then keep going with offense. Davis Mills has to settle down. Davis Mills has to be able to complete the easy throws, not have to risk it all, not be so locked in on one receiver, Brandon Cooks or the tight ends or whatever, which is, he's comfortable with. I wish that Tyler Johnson would be playing, but I highly doubt that he's going to be active just based on reports that he's still trying to catch up. So just looking at that and seeing Davis Mills kind of progress and evolve. And I want to see Pep be more innovative with the offense.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's gonna have to, right?
Right. Just be innovative with the offense and kind of use your tools. You see that you have a player at the tight end position, OJ Howard, that you
Howdoesthepartments.com.
that
Create
you
eye-tingling virtual tours
What
that
the
you
of
fuck?
this. Activate shrink suit.
But fucking ESPN.com just like
yeah.
randomly, what the fuck? Go ahead.
But no, you got a tight end piece and OJ Howard that you didn't have, with Farrell Brown and Brevin Jordan. So how do you utilize OJ Howard? I know that because he caught the 2 touchdowns, they're probably going to be keying on him.
Mhm.
So how do you operate and get open looks to Farrell or get open looks to Brevin or even Jordan Thomas? Jordan isn't Jordan, no, Jordan Aiken.
Jordan Akins, right? Yeah, yeah.
Even Jordan Akins, who's probably going to be called up this week, as well. So I want to see the Chris Morris get more involved because he played a pretty decent game. How do you utilize that speed from Chris Moore, and how do you, because he always finds a way to get open. Use that, you use those tools that you have at your hand and kind of spread the ball around. Um,
Right.
So, I think that's what I'm looking for with Davis Mills, and I think those are the keys on the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, you got to stop the run. I mean, you got Javonte Williams, man. He's one of those up and coming backs, man. That dude can play. They gonna be running. And Denver is going to run the ball. They're going to do, and then they got Melvin Gordon there as well. So it's not like they, are lacking behind. So they're going 1-2 punch you. They're going Melvin Gordon. They're going Javonte Williams. They're gonna hit you. So how do we sustain? I know, and the thing about it, I know that they're not Jonathan Taylor. That running game is not the Indianapolis Colts run game, but it's still a potent running game. And it's still something that they thrive off of.
Mhm.
And you got to take advantage of it. You got to shore up that run game because Russell Wilson, if you stop the run game, you kind of stop Denver's offense at this point. Russell Wilson is still going to be Russell Wilson, but without KJ Hamler, and then they lost a receiver in the offseason too. What's his name? Do you remember his name?
You talking about Tim Patrick?
Tim Patrick. They lost Tim Patrick in the offseason with ACL, if I'm not mistaken, and then KJ Hamler is out. So literally they're kind of grasping for straws at the receiver position with Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton, who are weapons. But it's the amount of weapons that Russell Wilson has, at his disposal. So it's gonna be you gotta on defensive side, man, you gotta stop the run, man, and you gotta limit those. I think this is gonna be a good test, another good test for Derek Stingley.
Mhm.
He's either gonna be matched up with Judy or Cortland. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. He, went against Judy in college, so I'm pretty sure he knows Jerry Judy pretty well.
Mhm.
And his tendencies. So it's going to be an interesting matchup for that. So I just don't want us to get beat down the field and give up those big chunk plays and switch up the defense, Lovey. Just switch it up a little bit, man. You got Derek Stingley back there. You got Jalen Petrie back there, man. Let them boys play and do what they do and not rely on your older linebackers who aren't as effective as before. Or if so, if you're still going to run it, go ahead and switch them out. But I just need Lovey to kind of switch it up because the way he played, it looked like he was running cover 2 or cover 3 in the open field, and when it came to red zone is when they switched to man. Um, but I really would probably kind of reverse it. I'd rather you play man in the open field and then play zone, in the red zone
Mhm.
and go from there. Because in that sense, your linebackers don't have to cover that much ground.
Mhm.
So if your linebackers are dropping back in coverage in cover 3 or cover 2, then they can hit those zones and it's not that much ground to cover. You're talking about 20 yards to cover rather than the whole freaking field. So, I think that if he can take that mindset and, learn from, his mistakes, because he had mistakes, Pep had mistakes, players had mistakes as well. So it goes all around. But if Lovey can learn from his mistakes and Pep can learn from his and be more innovative, same thing with Lovey, be innovative on defense. I think that's, big keys for the Texans on defense and offense.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know.
man. I mean, I'm just looking at the numbers again. Just seeing where we ranked, I guess, after the first week. You
Hmm.
know, 13 in pass attempts, number 10 in rush attempts. 17 in passing yards, 23rd in rush yards, and 30th in rush attempts with 2.8 yards a carry. Um, I mean, that's it's tough, man. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
that's Alfred Blue numbers right there, man.
yeah, I mean, it's like it's hard to win a game like that. Like, and
Hmm.
I know that's a good front, but like, and I mean, like I said, like I mean, Britt, I mean, we know,
Yeah.
Questenberry, like you were saying, like, can we just get average, and then
Hmm.
with Green, I mean, if he's average and Green is really good, I mean, then we know the left side of the line should be really good. I mean,
Hmm.
to me, it's just it's another tough matchup. I think like to me, I think that we're gonna be able to get stops. I don't think this is a game where we're gonna get blown out. I think that this
Yeah.
is a game that like I think it's gonna come down to how well we defend the slot and
Hmm.
and how well we stop the run. Um, when you have these, it's really hard because like I feel like the team is gonna try. Like I think we're gonna be like a real super try hard team.
Hmm.
Just it's just hard to win games. It's hard to
Hmm.
win games when like because I mean there were points in the last game, man, where like you could see, the defense, particularly the D line, like I don't want to say quitting, but just gas and just, I mean,
Hmm.
kind of giving up. I mean, I don't know if those were stunts that they were calling. I know because when I popped into the all 22 film stuff, y'all was pointed out too in the game. Like I went home and watched it with my pops. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was saying, man, like, is that a stunt? Like, I mean, this fucking like it would be like Bernard would fucking go around,
Right.
the D tackle,
It's-
but nobody would keep contained. So I'm like, that can't be. Nobody
right.
tried to keep contained. Like, we had Matt
Right.
Ryan out there scrambling. You know what I'm saying? That happened a few times, particularly in the end of the game. I just
Hmm.
think that like, it's hard. It's just we're in a situation where like I mean, it's just hard. You can't play defense forever. We don't have the talent to
Hmm.
just be out there all day, you know what I'm saying, and all that shit. And but yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about their defensive line. Obviously, we know Chubb in the front seven.
Yeah.
We talked about Jewel and all that shit. But like, I mean, let's look at their numbers. I mean, they were number I don't who they played Seattle.
Seattle, right? Yeah.
So they were number 7 in the league in rushing attempts on defense. They gave up 76 yards on 19 attempts. And
That's damn near 4 yards a carry though.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, but see, like when you look at their chart, you know what I'm saying? Because I went through and looked at their players. They
Hmm.
don't have they run a 3-4, so obviously you could be flexible with the body types you have pretty much damn near everywhere. But
Hmm.
their nose tackle is that's DJ Jones. DJ Jones is 6 foot and 300 pounds. That sounds a lot like Roy Lopez to me. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Their defensive ends are under 300 pounds. They have Randy Gregory and Bradley Chubb. I think this is a defense that is built to stop the pass. This is a
Hmm.
defense that's built to get after the quarterback and not built to stop the run. So, I mean, this kind of should be a statement game and a coming out party for. I mean, I hate to say it like that, not to be disrespectful of them, but like this is a game that, like you were saying, we should be able to run the ball. I mean,
Yeah.
but again, if I think like so for me, I know there was a lot of talk about Pep Hamilton. We could get into this. I don't know if there was a lot of talk about Pep Hamilton in the first game getting conservative. Uh,
Hmm.
and I mean, the reason I defended it is because like obviously in the moment there was a lot of things I didn't like. I felt that there was times that Lovey should have ran man and blitzed.
Hmm.
Felt like there was times that you know Pep should have did things differently. But looking back at it, bro, like particularly in the fourth quarter and overtime, I think that there was no like they gave the line a chance to close the game out
Hmm.
and they handed the ball off and they weren't able to do it. But at the same time, like, it was like people were talking about Pep, and I mean, in the moment, I think he just didn't have any confidence in Britt. I think,
Hmm.
I jokingly said, that was the worst game I think I ever seen a center ever play.
Yeah.
Sadly, I think, and what's sad about it is that, like, you know, you know, I think he's a better player than that. He showed earlier in his career he's a better player than that.
Hmm.
I'm saying, he played on like, Super Bowl caliber team. Was he on the Super Bowl team? Yeah, he won a Super
He
Bowl.
was a starting center when they won the Super Bowl. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, so like we're seeing a player age before our eyes, and it looked like the game just kind of just passed him by in the middle of the damn. Like it was sad to watch. So, um, yeah, I mean, just looking at it, bro, I think we should hopefully be able to run the fucking ball, and like you were saying, bro. I know there was people talking about also that it. So that's why I was going on. My bad, off on a tangent, but like,
Mhm.
um, if that doesn't work, we need to find ways to really get after, like, you just find ways to work in the passing game, like the quick passing game, to something to keep us on schedule if the run game doesn't work. I mean, we all talk about Davis Mills, and whether or not he can be the guy. And also, I mean, and Pep and all this shit. I think that if he could find a way to move the ball, if the run game between him and Pep with this roster, what I'm saying, we have two good pass blocking tackles. I know the receivers is kind of thin, but if he could find a way to move the ball, if the run game doesn't work, what I'm saying, there has to be a fucking plan B. What I'm saying, to keep the offense on schedule. So, yeah, man, I don't know, like that's how I'm feeling, bro.
Yeah, and you know what what I'm expecting from this game is I want the team to be competitive, and I want the game to be close for them to be in the game. Um, I think that they have to go to a place. They're at a point now where the team is still rebuild. Since we're rebuilding, the team needs to learn how to win.
Yeah.
And I think these games will be close, and these games will teach the Texans, what they need to do to win games.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because they're so young at certain positions. They're bringing in. You got a rookie running back, rookie secondary, basically. Rookie starting guard. You got all these young, and then you got second year player. You got a second year quarterback, second year receiver. You got veterans sprinkled all around. But at the end of the day, as a collective, this team has to learn how to win, because even the players that were here before, like Brandon Cooks, they've been here ever since they've been here. It's been losing seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So you still have to figure out as a team how to learn to win. So I think that I'm expecting a close game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm expecting, the Texans to kind of be in it, the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
But I do see the Broncos pulling this one out, especially Russell Wilson first game at home. Denver, Denver, let's ride. They gonna try to ride it on out. But I think it will be a very, very extremely close game, probably coming down to another field goal, or one score game where it'd be maybe between 7 and 3 points, or 3 and 7 points.
Yeah, yeah, I see that too. And I mean, to me, like, it's like I said, like, it's just like we just don't have the talent. There's gonna be times where, like, even there's gonna be times where the score looks even a little bit weirder than it really was. There's gonna be
Yeah.
some games this season that, like, we might end up looking like we lost by 2 touchdowns, but it was like literally two fourth quarter touchdowns. What I'm saying?
Yeah.
At the end, like, what I mean? We just, and this is what I saw in that game, with the Colts, bro. We just don't have the talent to, like, make any mistakes. Like, we have to come out and play like this perfect fucking game. What I'm saying? While still being conservative in a sense, to give ourselves a chance to win. And yeah, so for that reason, man, I just think that it'll be a competitive game. I don't think we're not like, you know, I feel like we're kind of like the Lions of last year.
Yeah.
Expected to, if I had to put my mark on it, like, I would say another like 27 loss. You know,
Yeah.
um,
I think the score I have 28-24.
mhm.
Denver winning 28-24. Um, and them kind of pulling it out. But it all, like I said before in the last game, it's gonna all come down to turnovers, man. That to me, that's what's going to at least keep the game close for the Texans. They have to continue to produce those turnovers. Like you have to be in the positive when it comes to turnovers. So I do feel like it's going to be a very, very competitive game. I do think you can get at least one interception out of Russell Wilson this game. So I think that'll help you on a turnover battle.
Mhm.
But just gotta hang tough. I think after this game, I think you have one more, which is the Chargers. You got a little stretch, like the Bears and Jaguars. Before the bye, you got those 2 out of 3 games. If you can go into the bye 2-2-1, I think you'll be kind of excited as a Texan fan. In the first 5 weeks, doubling your win total from last year. I mean, half of your win total from last year, all
Yeah.
5. So, you know, like I said, man, it's gonna be a competitive game. It's gonna be a fun game. Afternoon game. I don't think the Texans played an afternoon game last year at
A
all.
long time, bro. It's been a
Like
minute. Yeah.
it's been a while that we can sit back at 12 o'clock and watch all these other games and sit back and watch Houston at 3. So, but other than that, man, any other comments you want to talk about or any other matchups you excited to see or you kind of want to
You
key in?
talking about like player matchups in this game?
Yeah, player matchups in this game you want to kind of key on before we head out.
Man, I mean, just in general, like, especially for where we are right now, like, I'm
Mhm.
really concerned about just the trench play in general.
Right.
So I want to see Bradley Chubb. What I really want to see is Bradley Chubb on Titus Howard, bro.
Yeah.
We're talking about a big 6'4", 275 pound, what I'm saying,
Hmm.
edge, a powerful guy, what I'm saying,
Yeah,
that's
and they're going to put him on Titus because that to me that's an easier challenge than Tunsil as far as pass rush. So
yeah, yeah.
expect Randy Gregory if he plays to be on the side with Tunsil and vice versa. They may flip him around a lot, but I think he's going to get a majority of reps on Titus Howard. So that is a good matchup to watch. And then my matchup is Derek Stingley versus Jerry Judy and Cortland Sutton
Mhm,
because Russell Wilson is really going to be keying in on those two.
mhm,
So I want to see how he kind of performs, and hopefully he can have opportunities to play man and kind of really check those guys and kind of keep them in check. So other than that, bro, I mean, we talked about the trenches, so it's the trenches gonna always be the matchup. So defensive and offensive line, but other than that, we gave our predictions, man. Hopefully the Texans, can surprise all of us like they did last week
mhm.
and pull it out. So, but anything else you got or
Oh no, I mean that's pretty much it, bro. I mean, let's just see how it goes.
yeah.
And I mean, shit, I'm hopeful. I mean, what else? I mean, to me, like it's like we always say, like this year is about like, the future. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
like, to me, like just seeing where we can improve is is,
Right.
is super important to me, and honestly, this year because of where the Texans are, it's like I always watch college football, but I think I'm watching it a lot more critically now, and like really just trying to see like those up and coming players, because like I
Mhm.
mean not to to be positive, you know um I feel like there's a lot of places where this team is like really, really, assuming that these young players play the way we expect them to play when they were drafted. You know what I'm saying? I think that we're like very, very close to having literally a lot of position groups, filled, like,
Mhm.
well, like particularly like I mean corner. If you go get another good one corner that can push Steven Nelson out, then the cornerback position will be solidified for the next 4 years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which is and I mean, at that point, you're talking about having the best cornerback room in the division.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? with Christian Harris and hopefully Garrett Wallow. If we get
And
another
even
guy,
Blake Cashman. Yeah, we can
and
get
Blake Cashman, let's
yeah.
say you add in like another linebacker, just be
Just
positive.
to have a room, yeah,
Yeah,
just to keep it going and building. So yeah, it'll make the defense one of the top defenses instantly.
yeah. And then same thing with the D line. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you find a way to add a nose and you get a dominant or dominant rusher from either inside or outside that
Mm-hmm.
commands double teams and wins one-on-ones. You're talking
Right.
about a whole other position group that could be fixed in one off season. I don't know if I talked a lot about it on here, but I mean, the running back room is one guy away. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? The wide receiver room, bro. I mean, I think that we could if we have a really good offseason, man, we could
Mm-hmm.
really become like, what I'm saying, a borderline fringe, division championship in one offseason. Division championship
Yeah.
type of team in one offseason. And, to me, I feel like it would be very, very easy. I hate to say that this is the toughest league in the fucking world, but like I truly believe that if we add another high end receiver, you know what I'm saying, I think we'll have the best receiving core in this division. Like if you get I
Yeah.
know you like Mario Addison, but I
Mm-hmm.
mean hell, Addison, you know what I'm saying? What's my boy name?
Smith and Jigba.
I like Butte. I know he, after 1 week, it looks crazy as fuck. But if you add in a guy like that, I can't see. It'll be two things like I just can't really see like that's how you win a division. You have your team have strengths. You know what I'm saying.
Right.
You have like you start talking about well shit. The Texans got the best receivers in the division. We got the best
Mm-hmm.
corners in the division. And I feel like, bro. I know I'm going on this, but like, bro, if you go get Jackson Smith and Jigba, Addison, Butte, like look at the depth, bro. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
just amazing to me, and I hope that Nick Casario is thinking about this shit. It's like
Yeah.
so you got Cooks, you got Mechie, you got
Top.
Addison, Butte, whatever the fuck. Then you would have Tyler Johnson, Collins, because those guys would beat Tyler Johnson and Collins. They push them down. Think about a wide receiver room where Collins and Tyler Johnson is your fourth and fifth receiver.
Right.
For me, and I mean, at that point, bro, like, we all talk about the whole meal shit. At that point, if you can't really be competitive with that shit, it's over. It's no debate, bro. You know what I mean? So I'm excited, bro. And I think that at the end of the day, bro, like, I'm just more and more excited every day to just see the possibilities that you could go. Because there's really no wrong choices as long as you get good quality,
I
talented,
ain't talent, yeah.
That's all that matters, bro. So.
And after all that, all we can say is Houston Texans, let's ride.
Right.
But man, it's been another episode of BOP, man. This is your boy AD. Got Leo in the building, man. So we want to thank y'all for joining in, watching, man. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see y'all guys next time, man. Peace.
Right.